My name is Louise Mealy, and I'm the daughter of Maddie, and the same Maddie Maud Taylor. And I grew up in Georgia when I was very young. As they say, I was born in Washington Rail, Georgia, and we migrated from Washington Rail to Atlanta, Georgia. And I grew up. I was there until I was 11 years old, and we migrated from there to Detroit, Michigan. And I grew up in Detroit, Michigan. I went to school there. When I went to Michigan, I was about 11 years old. And from there, I went to school, and my parents grew up, and it's in Detroit, Michigan. And Michigan was I don't know where to go from here.
What happened after Michigan?
And after Michigan, in Michigan, I went to school. And
how'd you get to New York?
I got married in Detroit, and
Who you get married to?
I got married to Edward Mealy, and at that time we had 4 girls, which the names of Carolyn, Jackie, and Ernestine, Darlene, and we were together, and after a while we separated, and I separated, and I left Detroit and came to New York, where I am now. And after a while, and my husband and we separated, and I came here and started a new life. And after I came here, it was like I was here about a year, and my husband came, as they say, and I guess we got back together, and then we had my first son, which is Aaron, and we separated again, and he went back to Detroit, and I stayed here in New York. And when I was about 30, I think about 32, 31 or 32, and I got saved, thanks be to God. And it was to how God brought me here, and it's my experience with Christ was long before I got here, and God just brought me here, and He opened up my understanding. But before I left Washington, Georgia, I had an encounter with the Lord, and it brought me to here, in which I joined the church with my grandmother, because I stayed with her when I migrated here.
Who's your grandmother? What was her name?
Her name was Hattie B. Taylor, and she was the mother of the church, and they call her Mother Taylor, and she always have inspired me and in the ways of Lord. And I met Mother Jackson, which was my first, no, I would say second pastor. because I had joined the church when I was in Georgia, in Atlanta. But it just say when I met Mother Jackson and I would go to church, and I wasn't going for myself. I was sending the children to church, and finally my children was telling me so much about the Lord and how much and what was what, and I said, I don't know any of this stuff. And so I said, let me go and see what they teaching my children. And I wanted to know, and I went and listened, and I learned the Lord, and I've been in Christ Memorial Church ever since. As to say, although I have went through Mother Jackson, she passed, and then I had a pastor, as to say, Mother Carter, which she became the pastor, and after she expired, and then the church was turned over to Pastor Grant, and I continued to stay faithful to the church, to Christ Memorial Church, and God blessed me to. It was a little, how could I say it, of receiving and so many things that came up to the point, but I wasn't happy at first, but God, He worked things out, and He prepared my heart to receive and to be a worshiper, and He used Pastor Grant, which was my, as you say, pastor for years, and after she expired, my pastor was my daughter, because I had all my girls in church, and they all knew of the Lord, and Ernestine is my pastor now, and it was a blessing. I just thank God that He brought me from a mighty long way, and so many encounters, and that how He brought me, and I'm just grateful to God that I'm still here, and now, and we're in 2021, and coming out of 2020, which we had a pandemic, and things have really just changed, and it's a difference, and we have to wear masks, which I'm not wearing a mask now, but I need to have one. And I said, well, it is we just thank God. God had really brought me from a mighty long way, and from Georgia to here, and He just blessed me, and I have 8 children, which I have, it just say 4 boys and 4 girls, and He has really brought me a long way, and I'm grateful to God that what He's done and what He's yet doing, as to say, for our family. And I have grands and great grand, and it's a blessing, and I can't sit here and tell you how many grands and great grands that I have, and I have but it's a good 20 or more of grands and great grands, and I'm grateful to God that He blessed me to see my grands and to be with them, and I'm thankful to my grandson. Is to say he's one of the he's not the oldest grandson, but he's, is to say, somewhere in the middle, Aaron, and which he was named after his father, and I'm grateful to God that he had really brought me from a mighty long ways, and from the little girl that's down in Washington, Georgia, and to say running through the woods and trying to seek God. And it's not so much it is said to seek him. He was already there. And he'd been there, but then I didn't know that. But it's a blessing to know that it is say God has been with me all this time and yet with me, and I'm just thanking God.
Have you ever seen anything like, you mentioned 2020, have you ever seen anything like the coronavirus?
I've never seen anything like this in my whole, and to say 78 years. And I know they said that I was looking at the television and it was telling me about how when their smallpox was and how many people it affected. And I said, I'm just grateful to God that this coronavirus have affected a lot of people, and a lot of people have left this world because of it, and we have to keep ourselves safe. And I've never seen anything like it or been in a situation, and not just here, but it's all over the world. And to say in different countries. And so, but I thank God that we're still here, and he's blessing us to be here and to keeping us safe. And I thank God for the word of God that lets us know that he said he would never leave us nor forsake us. And I thank God that the promises of God is yea and amen. So I'm just grateful to God for everything that he does and what he allows. I'm learning to accept it and thank him for it and move on.
All right. I want to specifically ask you about the Emmett Till situation. You remember what it was like during that time?
I remember what I remember. That was a horrible thing to say, because the young man, I was a young girl at that time, and it was horrible to hear and to see how badly that young man was beaten. And his mother, she was brave enough, she said, I want to let the whole world see what they did to my son just because he whistled at a white lady. And things have changed, but not so much. They're yet doing things that's seen and unseen. That's not fair to the American black person. And that was a horrible, horrible thing, that what they did to that young man just because he whistled at a white woman.
I got a question. If you could change anything in America, what would you change?
If I could change anything, I would love to see everybody saved, and it wouldn't be no division among the people, because it just say you have this group, that group, and it's nobody together. If I could change anything, at one point the world was all one and had the same language, but they were together, but they were together for all the wrong reason. They wanted to reach heaven, and that's when the Tower of Babel was built, and everybody worked together and everybody was one. But God, in the say, seen that they was one, and I don't know why or what, but he said they would reach, they won, and they could reach heaven, and anything we put together, get together, and we can do anything if we came together. Together we stand, divided we fall. And that's what he did. He went down and confused their language. And then one was saying, bring me bricks, and the other one was telling, no, I don't want the bricks now, I want water. And they were confused, and everybody had a different language. And so, but it just say, once people get together, there's no limit to what they can do.
That's cool. How was the 60s?
The 60s, I was very young. At the 60s, I had Jackie was born. Carol was already born. She was born in 57. So I had Jackie in the 60s. And when Martin Luther King, and I think he was in the 68, I think he died. Or was it 67? I forgot, one of those years. I know that's when I came to New York. The year that he died, he was assassinated, and from one thing to the other, that was a horrible thing. And I can't remember whether it was Kennedy died before, because I can remember when Kennedy died, what I was doing the exact time that I heard that he died. I was hanging curtains in Detroit. But when Martin Luther King died, I was here in New York for maybe 1 or 2 weeks. That when I came here to New York, and that was the 60s. We were still, Martin Luther King was doing the 100,000 man march, and they.
You know anybody who went?
No, I know I didn't go, but I saw it on television. But I didn't go. I never was one to go marching. Only time I ever marched, did any walking for anybody, was during the time when we was marching for the education, and I walked from Fulton and at IS 271 High School to City Hall, and we marched. And when I come back, and the young girl, I said to myself, I said, a little nappy-haired girl, well, I did. She come out and see, I don't see what y'all marching for. We don't want to go to school anyway. I said, which one did we? Dumb all your life? And I'll never forget that. And she just came out when we got to Fulton and Ralph, and the little girl said, she really, and just say, and I had blisters on my feet from walking, doing that walk there and back, and that's a nice walk, and I've never done that since. I've done that one time, and no more. They march where, other than in a parade, I marched in the, walked with Darlene when she was, as you say, city council. But other than that, I never marched in any, not in, no marches for anybody. I watch it on television and pray for them. Yeah, I told you about it.
No, tell me.
Oh, I didn't.
Tell me.
Yeah, well, say, and I can remember, I got a beating for it, but this heavyset lady, she came and she had some big boobs, and I just hollered out, which I didn't know no better. I said, ooh, she got some big titties, and mother beat the crap out of me because I said it, but I only said what I saw. And I can remember that beating. I can remember the lady, and I was only, 2 or 3, because I know that was when we didn't stay down in the country that long. That's when we moved back up to Atlanta, and we lived in Dixie Hill, which I said the next time I go to Georgia, I'm going and scout out and see what it's like now. And though I can remember where the church was, the first church that I went to, I had that I could remember going to, was I went to the church, and I love we go to Sunday school, and we was in Sunday school, and she asked me, I was asleep, and they was having class, and our teacher said, who wants to be saved? And I was asleep, and out of my sleep, I jumped up and raised my hand. I want to be saved. But I was sleeping. When I realized what I jumped up and said, I was really, because I heard through my self-conscious that she was asking who wanted to be saved. And I jumped up and said, I do. And the children laughed me to scorn. And then that's when I really started seeking the Lord. And when I went back down in Georgia, in the country, to Washington, where I was born, and that's when the church down there, Lineville Baptist Church, and they said you go out in the woods and you seek the Lord and you seek God and what have you. And that was my first encounter with the Lord. That when I went out in the woods, and I'll never forget it, and just say I got on my knees and I was praying, and everybody thought I was crazy because I had sought the Lord, and seemed like by my sitting there, all I could see was this bright light that it shined all around me, and I was on my knees and I was crying, and I was crying, just crying and thanking God. But the funniest thing, it wasn't too long after that when we moved to Michigan. And when I moved to Michigan, everybody thought I was crazy. They said, well, she just, because I prayed all the time, and I was praying and praying, and I was be crying. And soon after that, when you don't have someone to guide you, you don't, how can, except somebody show you the way? And I didn't have anyone to show me the way that I should go, or sit down and teach me, well, this or that or the other, until I came here to New York. And then I got the teachings, and then I understood God was dealing with me back then, but I didn't know that. But now, thank God, and to say, to bring me to a place in Him, and I'm just grateful to God, and that's it.
All right, cool.
As far as I can remember.
Oh, I was gonna sit down. That's how we gonna sit down.
No, well, she had dressed me up real nice, and I guess she always had me clean, and I guess the white lady, I'm just thinking that what may have happened or what it was, but I got on the bus, and I got on the bus and I hopped up in the front seat, not knowing any better, and Mama was going, she said, no, you can't sit there. And so the white lady told Mama that it was all right, let her sit. But I didn't know anything about we had to go to the back of the bus or whatever. But Mama had to stand, although it was seats around. But she let the white lady let me sit in the front of the bus, and Mama was, kind of, she didn't leave. She just stood. She wouldn't sit, but the lady let me sit, and the bus drivers, and they didn't wasn't too kindly for that either. But I said that's the only reason I figured. I'm thinking back to what I can remember myself seeing myself, getting on the bus and hopping on the front seat. And the white lady, Mama told me, you can't sit there. And I looked at her. It's little things like that I remember. And even in when I was this was another time. She had dressed me up, and we were walking somewhere, and I can remember this man. I could see his face now in a sense. I can't make his face out, but he was a real dark man, but he was shiny. His clothes was shiny, and I looked at him, and I said, Mama, you see that nasty man? I can remember, I can see myself saying that. But the man was so dirty till he was shiny. His clothes was shiny, and he was, I guess it was a bum. I didn't, and I was about 3 or 4, and I seen him, and then I didn't say nasty. I said that nasty man, because that was how down there I dilate is different. As I say, when I went to Michigan, my what dilate or how I sound and talk it was different. But down there it was that nasty man. But he was a real dark man, but he was shiny. His clothes was shiny. Have you ever seen anybody get that dirty?
Nah.
Well, he was. I mean, he was real nasty. You haven't seen no bums on the street that you could tell they hadn't took no bath, haven't took and their clothes, they haven't changed their clothes, and it wasn't matter. They was just black and shiny. I mean, just nasty.
Oh yeah, I know what you're talking about.
And that's just the way he was. And I don't know if he was really dark, or was that just dirt on him that he could have been light as bean. But he, by him not washing or whatever, in the dirt that was on him, he was just a black, shiny, dirty man. And things like that, I little things that I remember when we were living in Dixie Hill, and how my poor brother, Lord have mercy, God bless him, he's dead now, but he fell down the stairs and bust his 2 front teeth. And you know how long it took that poor boy his tooth to come back? It took was he 8 or 9 before when he fell. He was a little he had just got his tooth, he was 2 years old. Yeah, it's 2 front teeth, and they used to tease him all the time. All I want for Christmas is my 2 front teeth. My brother Sylvester. You met him, didn't you?
Uncle Sylvester? I think, I'm not sure.
Let's see who this is. Oh Lord. By the time I get over there, I'm probably gonna be up and be going to the what's her name. But we done?
Yeah, I'll just be letting it roll.
You be letting it roll?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, we.
That's part of the art.
It is?
Yeah.
So, but then it's all mixed up.
Now, the thing is, the camera's always rolling. Like, that's how I be when I'm on set. Like, you never know when the camera's rolling, because it's always rolling. Right, that's just what they say. So if they say, hey, if I say so, camera's always rolling. So I like always get content. Yeah, I got another role coming up.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, I be grinding, Grandma. I be grinding. Yeah, and if I get lucky, hopefully, I might be playing a basketball player too.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. They ain't gonna be giving me that NBA money though.
How did? Now, why not?
I ain't really playing in the NBA.
Oh.
Yeah, NBA players, they get millions of dollars. Only getting actors paycheck for one day. Like, what's that, like 200? I'll take that.
What, you'll be playing or you'll be...
Yeah, I'll be playing.
Yeah.
Yeah, not a real game though. Just like we'll really be playing, but it ain't worth nothing. It ain't like for a championship or nothing. Just a pickup game.
I don't know, because I don't play no game. I was telling, who was that? I was talking to somebody, and I was telling, which I used to play football, and I can't even remember nothing that when I was younger.
Mm-hmm.
I guess I must have been 12 or 13, and I was a real tomboy. And playing football, but now I don't know nothing about football.
You play football?
You
used to play football?
Yeah. And we used to had a good time playing in the same, and that was, we lived on the west side in Detroit, on Porter Street. I'll never forget it. And we could look over in Canada, because we was right by the lake that in Canada, the bridge to go over to Canada was maybe like down to Broadway.
Mm-hmm.
And where we lived on Porter, and the would go straight down, and you could go down, and then you could go, the bridge was right there, that you could see the bridge, and you could see over in Canada where we lived. Mm-hmm. Once we go up on the roof, we would go up on the roof, and we could look right over in Canada.
You ain't never go to Canada?
Yeah.
How is it?
Canada, it is, I don't know, at that time, when we would go over there, they would give you so much food. Oh my God. And I got pictures in there when we were here, we went to Canada. But when I was in Detroit, I went to Canada once. And I don't know why we went to Canada then, because Annie Bell and my oldest sister, Annie Bell and her husband, we went to Canada just to sightseeing, I guess. Mm-hmm. Because at that time, that was when Carol was born. She was a little baby, and I got pictures in there somewhere where she was sitting at on some kind of monument, and we took pictures, and we had a nice time in Canada and came back home.
You know where they at?
I don't know what them pictures I tell you, I remember that just as good. Let's see, I don't know. I have to go through all those pictures because I got a whole thing. All them pictures there, and on that side and on that side in the buffet. Mm-hmm. And I said, Lord have mercy. And matter of fact, I haven't seen none of those pictures in a good while. I hope it wasn't some of the pictures that got lost. Like Jackie had, when she helped me paint this room, she had put my pictures and stuff, some of them, in a bag. Mm-hmm. And I didn't know she had put them in the bag. I thought it was a garbage bag, which it was a garbage bag. But she had put the pictures in there, and I didn't even know she had put them in there. And I just, when you stepping over a bag, mm-hmm. and you just stop putting garbage in it. So it was a garbage bag. And I threw away a lot of pictures that got lost that way. Because when I asked her, I said, well, what happened to my pictures? And she said, I put them in the garbage, in the black bag. I said, what? I had already threw the bag out to garbage.
Wow.
and Darlene, when they always had a picture that when Darlene was a baby, it had 3 pictures of Darlene, different poses, and her personality. If you could see those pictures, it was different personalities. When she took the pose, you could tell when she was, it was. You look at me and said, "That's the same baby," but it was taken at the same time. But then, however they got her, the photographer got her. It was 3 different poses, and I said, "Oh my goodness!" And those personalities seemed like it. She looked. It was just 3, and she didn't have no hair. It was bald head, just about. And the only one that really had hair was Jackie. Jackie, twins, and your dad didn't have that much hair. He was very little. And who else had hair? Ernestine had hair. And Daniel, he didn't have too much hair. he was kind of bald head like his son is, the one now. But I said, I don't know, from one thing to the other. But they would have laughing with Darlene, not Darlene, but Carol, because they said that's Eisenhower because she had the cowlicks.
Oh.
Yes, they did. They would make fun. And I said, oh, well, until her hair really started growing. It was thin. She had hair, but it was just like she had the cowlicks.
I slick it back.
Yeah. And I said, oh.
Alright, hey, I'm gonna check you later. I'm gonna need to go develop this.
Okay.
Thank you so much for your time.